Good evening. Tonight was the sixth and last Mummy movie. Has it been six? And the third and last Abbott and Costello movie, at least as far as this box set is concerned. Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. We didn't really watch movies before this. We're going to watch The Fly after I finish doing this, the Jeff Goldblum version, but we didn't watch any before. We didn't have any time while we were cooking, or we did have time while we were cooking, but we didn't have not for a full movie. So instead, we listened to the Act 2 of the German version of Dance of the Vampires, the original recording with Steve Barton, and we listened to the we hadn't finished back when we last listened to the cast recording of Bat Boy the musical. We hadn't finished, and so we listened to the last few tracks of that from Inside Your Heart to the finale. And then in the last moments of listening while cooking, we listened to the opening tracks of Little Shop of Horrors. I think that the Dentist song was playing when we turned off the music and turned on the Mummy. True to form, I had trouble getting into Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy, not because of Abbott and Costello, but because of the Mummy. It did not help that the Mummy was not in most of it, and that when the Mummy was in it, it looked like it was wearing mummy pajamas, and that was perhaps a design thing because at some point in the movie, other characters disguise themselves as the Mummy, and you can't do this 3 times, or maybe they could have, but they didn't want to probably. And also, I mean, you don't have to do the whole Karloff for an Abbott and Costello movie. The point is, the Mummy's got to be able to move, and that probably accounts for the design partly. And it's got to be able to be replicated easily, which the Karloff one wouldn't have been easy to replicate. So I get that, the design anyway, and but the Mummy not being in most of it, as opposed to the Invisible Man. It's his story. When the Abbott and Costello meet the Invisible Man, it's the Invisible Man's story. He's on his mission, and he enlists the two of them to do it. And when Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein and the Wolfman and Dracula, all three of those monsters are there the whole time. Lon Chaney Jr. there as a person when he's not in Wolfman form, and trying to help them along, and then the monster and Dracula just doing their thing. And it also helped in that movie. It was funny because it was actually Bela Lugosi as Dracula acting and reacting against the clowns. And it not that it had to be Lon Chaney. It wasn't Lon Chaney. It wasn't Boris Karloff. It was as Clarice, not Caris. It was Eddie Parker, actor mostly known for westerns, but also horror movies. It was him, and again, with the Mummy, it's like Frankenstein's monster. It doesn't have to be Karloff as Frankenstein's monster because it still looks like Frankenstein's monster. And same with the Mummy, which is why Lon Chaney, it was fine. Although Lon Chaney as the monster, as the Mummy, never really approached the creepiness of the Karloff Mummy. But I think that was more the movies than the quality of the performer. But again, there wasn't that. That's actually Bela Lugosi playing who plays the serious, creepy Dracula, being a little goofy in response to these goofy guys. So there were. It completes the Mummy series of I'm going to have to watch these again and give them another look and try to appreciate them better. It also didn't help that, unlike with Dracula and Frankenstein, where you can make fun of them and they can do their things, and it's not really offending anybody except vampires and monsters sewn together from the body parts of dead people. And same with the Wolfman. You can make fun of him, and it's only really going to offend werewolves, and there are none. But with the Mummy and with Egyptian culture, it's a thinner line, if there's any line there at all, between poking, gentle fun and doing something that's not exactly kosher, comedically, which some American Kazakhs have accused Borat of doing. And by Borat, I mean Sacha Baron Cohen. You can look that up. But meanwhile, the nation of Kazakhstan, to be fair, is using very nice as a tourism slogan, even though nobody in English-speaking countries is allowed to travel there, I don't think. Or at least America's not allowed to travel to places. I'm getting off topic. The plot revolves around the mummy Clarice, not Caris, and Clarice is the guardian of the tomb of Princess Ara, not Princess Anaxunamun, or Anak. I think I forget what she is in these mummy movies, but Anaxunamun in the good ones, the Brendan Fraser ones. The person, the supernatural malevolent force I live with is making me laugh again. The plot revolves around trying to find Princess Ara's treasure, and the guardian, the mummy guardian of her treasure / tomb, has an amulet that leads to the treasure, and people want the amulet. Some of them want it to find the treasure, some of them want it to protect the treasure and the secret of the tomb, and Abbott and Costello, of course, end up with it and are chased around with it. One of them eats it, and then in the best part of the movie, the mummy helps him burp it up. That was my favorite part of the movie. And again, ultimately, there end up being 3 mummies, and there's the whole, which one of you is the real one? And they all do the same thing. And it's when it gets to the madcap ending and stops being a parody of Egyptian culture, then it gets funnier. But I have to watch all of these again, maybe just straight through the mummies, see if I watch the story movie after movie, not that the Abbott and Costello one ties in, but maybe that would enhance my appreciation if I watch the mummies story all the way through and then watch the parody. But yeah, I'm going to stop there because, as usual, and disappointingly, I don't have much to say about the Mummy movie. Abbott and Costello continue to be quite funny. Tomorrow, the last one. Oh, which reminds me, now that we're done, this goes back in the box, into the sarcophagus. It's a sarcophagus. And tomorrow is The Creature Walks Among Us. I'm not sure if I've seen it, but I will see it. And then that's exciting. Have a lovely midnight.